Don't have a desk.
All right, all right. Here, good morning. Here we go. Episode, I think we're on 26 of Hitting the Road with Madison Hughes. Madison, how you doing this morning?
Hey, I'm great. How's everybody out there?
And man, I can't speak for everybody. I can speak for me. I'm good. Like I'm crushing, on a Tuesday. But I was kind of remarking earlier. I mean, you've got the setup. I mean, you were like most people that I talk to, I mean, it's pretty simple setup. You've got the whole setup this morning.
Yeah, I mean it's not podcast specific. I don't have the little covering. But I've had this mic since 2017, I think.
Okay.
I've carried this little setup with me everywhere to do my little field recordings, so it comes in handy with interviews.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and we can get into it later, but I mean, when you went to college, I mean, you kind of were in that kind of like that media space. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I was. It was a called digital media production major, and it's very easy. That's why I
It
like
was
that.
yeah, yeah.
Want
So
the major with no essays and no
yeah.
hard stuff, please.
It,
I just want
is that like was the curriculum just kind of like a just kind of a
like
picture of a microphone? Yeah.
editing and interviews, and it was great. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like listen, we're so happy to get to know you this morning a little bit better because I do have just some things that I'd like to get into. But as we kind of get going, I mean, we talked about just kind of the flow and how things would go this morning. And I'm really interested, because you came from Florida, right? So you're a Florida girl. And just kind of you kind of grew up around music. Is that fair to say?
Um, didn't have a musical family, but had been playing guitar since like fifth grade ish. Um, I never really wanted to get fully into it until I tried out for the voice. But yeah, I was music was always like in the background of my head, like all the time. Like that was the thing I was consumed over. I wasn't like, oh, boyfriends and dating. I didn't really care about any of that. It was just like music all the time. And so now I'm at a chapter of life where it's like, oh, there are other aspects of life besides this one thing.
Yeah.
It's interesting coming back to learning balance.
Well, and the reason I asked too, because it's like, was it, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but didn't your mom, wasn't she part of a festival or did she run a festival or like, what was her responsibility
Actually,
there?
oh yeah, that is true. Her company, Natural Life, yeah, they did for several years in downtown Jacksonville a music festival with arts and crafts, and
Okay.
I remember I performed. It was so young. Oh my gosh. It's funny, probably yeah, over 10 years ago for sure.
Okay.
And I was always just so shy to do all that. I just was
Yeah.
like, no, no, don't look at me. I can't do this.
Yeah.
I don't
But
want
but
to.
I mean but being in that environment, I mean, was your mom kind of just like encouraging that, saying, "Hey, listen, you can get up there and you got this."
Yeah, and now I'm like, being a parent, like that's what they should do, and I'm glad they had always tried to encourage me. But at the end of the day, if I'm gonna be the one to shoot myself in the foot, that's my problem. So it took me a while to get over my self doubt, and
Yeah.
I
What caused that, if you don't mind me asking? I know that's deeply
don't know. It's
personal, but
probably
what
just yeah, it probably is deeply rooted somewhere.
yeah.
I don't know. I never had some specific childhood trauma, but
Sure.
everyone does these days. So I'm sure it comes from something back
Yeah.
when. But um, I just had this innate sense of like, oh, I'm not super cocky and I'm amazing. I never understood that people have that. So it's just
Yeah.
yeah.
Well. So because part of the reason that I ask is because, like, if your mom, like, and what was her responsibility? Because was she putting that festival lineup together? Like, what did she do?
Yeah, well, she's the CEO of her company, and then she had people help running like she we like the similar music, so kind of the indie folk, indie
Yeah.
rock acts, and like Drew Holcomb, I think came once, Judah and
Okay.
the Lion, Larkin. I don't know if Larkin Poe came.
Yeah.
Just really cool. Shovels and Rope, Learlin.
Okay.
Um,
Gotcha. Yeah.
so she like delegated people to do their jobs and stuff, but
Sure.
she would always talk about how it was such a hard like doing a music festival is very draining and
Sure. Sure. Well, and part of the reason that I bring it up is because it's like, when you're doing that, if anybody that's worked on kind of that side of the business, I mean, you're really the kind of this curator, right? As you put together this lineup, you're a curator of like what are the people listening to, and not only that, but let me get out in front of like, what people don't even know is out there yet. Like this person, I'm getting them before they break next year,
Mhm.
and
Totally.
and so it's like, you're kind of you're kind of helping people, almost like putting together a mixtape. Like you're kind of showing them like what music is now and what music they should be listening to. And I say all that because it's like, as I listen to some of your stuff and watching the way that you try to put together, the music that you chose to release, I mean, we're talking about like Springsteen covers, and we're talking about Morgan Wallen covers and yeah, or I'm sorry, Poison covers. But like we talk about, like, because one thing that I think is challenging for an artist, anybody that's independent or whatever, is trying to get discovered by the algorithm. And so, like, as you selected those things, how much thought and energy and like time did you put into those things?
Man, it always came from just a true like I want to do this. It was never been of, well, this is a strategy to go viral. I've
Sure.
only recently started thinking that way, and it's kind of got me in this burnout phase, but that's
Mm.
another rabbit hole. Um, yeah, I was like just going through a lot of feelings over the past couple of years.
Yeah.
Everyone. Um, and I just would like just start listening to songs and figure out which one of these is speaking to me. And
Yeah.
um, it would always just be in that day, random spur of the moment. I didn't have this content catalog and scheduled posts and whatnot.
Sure.
There's none of that. It's always been spur of the moment and, oh, get my camera, film, post it, upload, done. Um,
Yeah.
and it was crazy. Like the two viral moments of my life was like the Morgan Wallen one was first, and then the Bruce cover happened right after that. It was literally back to back viral. Like, oh,
Yeah.
what's top of the world? And now I know how rare that is to like have that moment.
So
But
yeah, it's hard to recreate, right? Like it's hard to,
oh yeah, and that's why I have. I mean, I don't. I have to get back to the mentality of like the pure form of art. Like, just
yeah.
that's only where you're gonna go places. If you're trying too hard, it's just not.
Yeah, because it's easy to want to chase that, right?
Oh, for sure.
And because here's my question too, because like before we kind of talk about chasing that, so to speak, from Florida, like, so geography has such a heavy influence on music these days, right? Like, I mean, you know that, Texas country, for instance, is different than maybe what's coming out of Nashville, and even like, there's stuff coming out of Canada that's crazy different than what maybe coming out of California. And so, like, when you talk about like Florida and your Florida roots, what kind of influenced you, as far as like that geography and coming from that area?
I mean, like I don't really think it was like, yeah, I listened to Skinner all the time, and I was
Sure,
just on my
sure.
brother's head. Like, not
Yeah,
really, but I do know that they're from that region, which is cool. Um, there is a lot of like beachy, chill music. A lot of I guess there's surf rock in Jacksonville Beach. I'm not really
okay.
in tune with too much of the music scene there now, but um, I feel like my personality is very laid back, and I guess you get that from being at the beach
Yeah,
versus it uptight, like living in the middle of Chicago or Manhattan or something.
sure.
But growing up, I'd always listen to different stuff, like from Drake and Afro beats and Billie Eilish, and then dad
Yeah.
rock and mom rock. What
Yeah.
was that called? The Cranberries
Yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
No. Um,
Yeah. But it's pretty, I mean, pretty diverse though, right? And so,
yeah.
I guess too, like when you are coming out of that, you kind of, and you're trying to kind of, um, I guess, find your niche here now, right? And there's a lot that's happened in between. But when you came out of Florida, let me ask you this: when did you? Because I know that people have had kind of there's a tension that comes with like going on a show like The Voice, right? So did you seek that out, or did they seek you out on something like that?
I know nowadays they are actively searching for people to be
Sure.
on their show. But I remember it was like my mom's friends like were obsessed with that show and they wouldn't stop asking me to go try out. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. And I was like, okay, it'll be fun anyway. Like I never in my head thought this would be a bad look or that Nashville would think you're lame, which they apparently do. I
Oh.
don't care. But everyone in this town's been on one of the shows, so is what it is. But I had a great time. It was fun. It was like Camp Rock and got to learn about yourself and grow. And
Yeah.
I think that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. So, and I'm sure people have asked you about it before, but like, do you feel like that's been a benefit to you, or do you feel like it's something you have to kind of almost push against?
Um, it is a benefit to like the small towns that actually watch that show because there's a
Yeah.
lot of small town America that think it's cool, and so I'm fine with mentioning it in those scenarios, but I definitely don't make it like my number one thing I talk about anymore. But
Sure.
um, yeah, I definitely used to way more than now. I feel like I've sort of outgrown the whole talent show thing because people will be like, "Oh,
Yeah.
try for this songwriting competition." I'm like, I don't really want validation, and I don't
Right.
want to do that. So
Gotcha. Gotcha. So when you got off the show and everything, did you decide at that point that you were going to move to Nashville, or were you already here?
I was already in Nashville, and I was like posting some covers, and looking back, I'm like, oh gosh, it was not good at all. It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
But so I was, yeah, I was. It was like right around the same time, but I wasn't really social around that time, so I had no Nashville connections really when I tried out for the show and came back. But then I came back, and a lot of people on that show lived in Nashville, so then I had a community
Yeah.
there to start from. So that is a plus.
Sure. Sure. So when you were in Nashville, which is, and we can talk about it too, because it's kind of a fishbowl, right? And it almost seemed like there was a party this morning before we jumped on that was almost like dying to talk about it. I'm excited to talk about it, but I guess my curiosity is like, so when you're living and everybody's typically doing a similar thing, either they're playing down on Broadway or they're trying to get into this right, they're trying to get publishing, they're trying to get the record. And so you had your covers that they did well, and then you kind of got approached by some different labels. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I think like a lot of people, and I could sense they probably sensed I was like kind of green, and maybe I had so many questions like, "What is a label?" Like, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I that's probably why we never like met again. But for sure, it was. I mean, if you have zero people guiding you or helping you, and it's competitive industry, why would someone want to give you good advice? Because then
Yeah.
they want you to do bad because you're their competition. So I was like,
Sure.
my parents don't know what to do, so all you
Yeah.
can do is look on Google and YouTube, search help.
Yeah. Well,
I
and
ended up
that
just being like, no, I don't know. It was like,
what and that brings me to an interesting point because when you're meeting with labels, I mean, did you have representation or were you representing yourself?
no, yeah, just me. I think that was the main thing they wanted. Like, oh, you don't have a manager? Never mind. And I'm
Okay.
like, yeah, but I hear so many horror stories about why would I just go marry someone like next week?
Gotcha. Gotcha. So that was, I mean, because when you're trying to, do the independent thing and maybe not even trying to do the independent thing, but that's where you find yourself, is kind of in that independent space. Do you find that it's more liberating to kind of be able to represent yourself, or are there times where you're like, man, I wish I had another set of hands?
Yeah, I mean, I prefer to run it alone as long as I can. I finally have someone helping me with the booking stuff. It's still hard to know if I should do the whole manager thing or not, because you only have a certain amount of barely any money coming in. It's like I can't split this all these ways.
Yeah.
I find myself less motivated when it's like, oh, so and so's doing that for me, and like I lose like the self starter fire that I once had when
Yeah.
I moved here. And
Sure.
yeah, it's so hard to know because then of course any successful business you likely have team behind you as well. So then
Yeah.
I go back and forth.
Sure. Well, and part of it too, it's like, and I was talking to an artist the other day about this, is like when you're self-managed like that, you really do have to find ways to motivate yourself. I mean, even apart from the art you want to create, like you said, the daily posts or and by the way, and forgive me here, you're gonna have to remind me, but you made something on TikTok. And it was like this little spongy, delicious looking thing that you made with like some kind of weird
Yeah,
gelatin or something. What was that?
marshmallow.
Yeah, like
Uh,
like like I'm making that. It looked amazing, and I don't remember. But
I
you're
saw
but
someone else make that. I'm like, I love that.
yeah, but you've got to challenge yourself to make content that is engaging too, which I'm sure is a side of the business that from my perspective would be exhausting as an artist when you just want to make music and now you find yourself as a content creator. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Recently I've just been like I just batch filmed a bunch of lip syncs and I put lyrics over it, but I don't know if that's even doing well. I feel like that's become the lazy thing to do. I'm supposed to be more creative than just that. So I might go back to like playing uh live instead of the lip sync stuff. But because sometimes like the personality posts or like random cooking things like don't work or a day in
Sure.
the life's like because then I have people following me for things that's not music, and so
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, can I ask you this then? Because it's like with the music, does that feel like that's something? that is authentically you? And do you feel like maybe the content creation is something that maybe is inauthentically you, or is that, you
I
know,
know. Yeah, I never disliked making content, but it's
okay,
only lately has it been feeling more inauthentic, like because I'm not like just a fresh transplant and really fired up, and
yeah,
um I just feel like I don't have that desire to be like I want to be famous and yeah,
sure,
like I just their different desires are changing, and so I think
yeah,
it's also good because then that's a lot of pressure to be like
yeah, yeah,
a huge star and
totally. Well,
yeah,
and because something that I've noticed too, it's like, even with the, the following you've built on TikTok, or, the streams that you've got like on Spotify, something like that. I mean, we're talking, in the hundreds of thousands, right? Which is no small thing.
yeah,
And I know that sometimes, let me ask you this question too, because it's like, it's one of those things where I know you've mentioned, that even with your following, being kind of, pretty strong, fairly strong, um, it can still feel a little like disheartening, because like sometimes you find yourself playing to borderline empty rooms, which
yeah.
can be a challenge as an artist.
I had stopped doing the whole bring your gear to this hotel lobby and like play. I can't just can't do it anymore.
Yeah,
It's like, oh, it's not worth just a few $100. I'd rather just do something completely different.
sure.
And I don't want to just bring my Bose tower and set up, and it's just like, what is this for? So I'm glad this agent I have now is able to get me like real original gigs where it's like actually worth, I don't know, you not just lowering your worth. And every time I played those lower gigs, I'm just like, I felt like so lame, but
It's hard. Yeah. I mean, because artists want to play to full rooms, right? If they can.
yeah,
Yeah.
and just like a legitimate venue for music listening, not just here's around the back of the corner
Right.
and you're by the Coke dispenser machine. I'm just like,
Gotcha.
this is disgusting.
Well, yeah, and something like that. Are you doing mostly solo dates now? Or are you bringing a setup with you, a band with you?
Right now, I think in the next couple months, it's just gonna be solo. Because then there's the whole, well, how do I find people that want to travel for very low? Hopefully, I will meet those people soon. But
Okay.
yeah,
Gotcha.
it's just me so far. And again, it's getting out of your head of like, oh, am I going to be able to? Is that worth, people coming just to see one person? Am I enough? And
Sure.
it triggers that too. Like, how do I entertain? And um, but I'm sure I will learn.
Yeah.
And I've in December there's like a 4 date run in a row, so that'll be cool learning experience.
Sure.
How that goes.
Totally. Totally. Well,
I
so
really haven't done touring at all. Like we did a self starter tour last year. Again, only four things places in a row, and it was like did not make sense. But
sure.
yeah, and it's like oh, figuring out how to get your people that follow you to a certain venue is another challenge. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, and so with something like that, and again, I know we've talked about just kind of like, you know, you're obviously in town. We kind of talked a little bit before we jumped into it. And it's here's the thing, and I want to see if I can word this the way I want to word it. That it almost feels like there is something about maybe the way you're feeling, to maybe either today or about the industry
yeah.
in general, that it is right behind your teeth. And it's like it's almost like you're dying to say it, but like maybe I haven't asked the question right just yet. But
Mhm.
my question is like, what is there? There's something I feel like that's right kind of there on the tip of your tongue, that like this is truly the way that I'm feeling today in this moment about maybe the industry or what my place in it. Like, is that safe to say that like you've got something maybe in your heart this morning, or
Yeah,
uh,
I guess it is particularly today. Just listening to two podcasts this morning, I'm just like,
yeah.
oh, so feeling so intellectual. But
What were you listening to again?
I'm listening to Tucker Carlson
Okay.
and Candace Owens. So sorry if that offends anyone, um, but I don't know. It's just like going back to the whole. I don't have this like crazy driving like selfish ambition
Yeah.
like I once had, and I feel like it's partly good, but also I'm like, is that something I should follow? And like I'm not so feeling desperate for just like attention and desperate
Right.
for like industry. I don't care that whatever
Sure.
if I'm not the hottest thing in Nashville. I just don't. don't have my validation from that. I want to be healthy and healthy
Yeah.
relationships and grow with my faith and grow with
Yeah.
just, I don't know, people around me. And I feel like my music will hopefully, it will just be the, what's the word, healthy demonstration of how I am now changing on the inside, because
Sure.
maybe in the past it felt more like of a vain thing of like, oh, I want to be on
Sure.
certain episodes and certain features so I can
Yeah.
feel worthy or something. So that's now changed.
Ooh. See,
Yeah, it's a lot.
there's some lanes we can
So
go
many
down
deep
there.
things. Yeah.
No, there's some lanes we can go down. And let me tell you. So like, as I was kind of just looking at your TikTok, I guess one of the more recent, posts that you made, you had gone to the bookstore and you bought,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
a handful of books. And so one of those books and again, you maybe haven't gotten to it yet, but I mean, it's a very cerebral, very heady book. But you mentioned, C.S. Lewis, Mere Christianity was something that you had bought.
Yeah.
And so here's my question, I guess, because in the pursuit sometimes of the music industry, we can lose our way.
Hmm.
And it's very hard sometimes to align that identity we want to find in our faith, and sometimes we find it very much in what we do, and that's all of us, whether you work at Kinko's copy, whatever it is, like we all sometimes lose that balance of like, hey, my identity is here, I'm trying to find it over here. Are you finding that right now? Like, and again, I don't want to read too much in it, but like in the place that you are, as you just kind of look inwardly, like are you finding that tension of like, hey, this is who I find my identity in, and this is what I've maybe been trying to find it in. Is that safe to say? Are you in that place?
Yeah. There's another artist named Nick D who's yeah, he was also a Christian, and I just watched his interview yesterday with the Manager's Playbook podcast. It's really good. And he's got like 5 million monthly listeners and makes his whole living off of streaming, and is able to live out, his faith uncompromised and everything. And he doesn't even tour, but like owns all of his music and masters. And I just
Yeah.
really admire that, and how like you are able to stand your ground. And um but yeah, recently it's like, oh, you go through adolescent years into your 20s, and it's the 20s is a hard landscape, and I'm coming towards the end of that. And so a lot of my songs are about just the lived experiences that are challenging, and I'm like realizing a lot of my songs are about just like troubled relationships or with like whiskey and that. And I'm like, I don't really want to be spewing that out of my
Yeah.
mouth all the time, but they are the songs that I have released. And so it just goes into more deep things like, oh, well, I gotta find a community of people that want to write a new vibe going forward, or like more positive stuff, and
Yeah.
challenging myself to just actively do that in certain writing rooms and stuff. And before, it's just been a result of just like my heavy heart. I need to get this out of my chest and write this,
Yeah.
challenging moment in my life into a song. And that's been now my own therapeutic thing. I'm
Sure.
trying to come around and answer your question. I'm trying to see, did I answer it or not?
No, you're good. No, no, you're
Yeah,
good.
the Mere
And
Christianity. I haven't read it yet, but I gotta stop buying Amazon books. I gotta calm down and just
I'm the same
actually
way.
read each one, and
Yeah.
then um,
Well, but you talk about too, and it's just like, if I may, and I don't want to read too much into it, but it's like, so I listened to a song like Battles, right? And it's just like
hmm.
that is that two questions, I guess. Is that autobiographical?
So it is actually not. So the co-writer Rose Falcon, she was a main lyricist on that. She's
Okay.
awesome, and she's with Curb, Re- Curb Records, I think is it.
Hmm.
But I brought in the idea of everyone's fighting a silent
Yeah.
battle,
Yeah.
and I was like, well, that sounds like a great kind of country song. And I had the chord progression in my mind and everything, and kind of this bluesy country thing. And all I brought in was that one lyric. And then she had the idea to make it like a female narrated thing, and
Mm.
about like the whole Adderall, propped up on Adderall and this. And I was like, well, I don't
Sure.
necessarily have that as my story, but
Yeah.
that's okay. You're just telling the story of a person that's in a low point, and that was a cool rhyme. So we brought that in.
Sure.
um, yeah, I mean, it definitely has been autograph, autograph.
You're,
Auto,
you,
autobiographical at some point. I
yeah,
mean, a lot of days I have silent struggles for sure. I know like so many people
sure,
close to me are fighting very hard things that they won't tell anyone about. So
sure,
everyone has that thing that's very hard to admit or that only
yeah,
you and God can talk about or
yeah,
and so that's very real and an
yeah,
example of what I've become known for, which is like the slow, smoky, sad song.
yeah,
But my personality is more not to be this mysterious, like, oh, head
sure.
down type of person. So that's the funny thing about like, yeah, my current music story at this moment.
Yeah, totally. Well, it's so funny because it's like one of my best friends, man, he's a musician in town, and it's almost like his art is almost like this exploration of a side of him that you wouldn't see otherwise, because it's not the way he is in his everyday life, because the funny thing is like when I'm watching you make these little marshmallowy squares, that almost seems like the genuine you, like,
Yeah.
but it's like, but the art, it's like, listening to you, it's
Mm.
like it is this whole other side, of you. And I will say this too, and I mean this, like, there are sometimes you listen to people or you find them on Spotify and you can take it or leave it. But there was such a, and I will say, uniqueness and authenticity to your voice. And it was almost like when you hear it, it's like you kind of believe the lyric, like in the way that you deliver it, right? And so I think that that's a gift that you've got. But even if it doesn't necessarily represent who you truly maybe are 85,
Yeah,
90% of the time, if that makes any sense.
right. Yeah, and I hope it's not confusing because then I'm told to not do the marshmallow content that's weird and
Bring it. No, bring it,
whatever.
bring it, bring it. No, bring the marshmallows. I mean, seriously.
I
So,
have them in the fridge right now. I make them every week, guys. It's
no,
really
that's
awesome.
you got to, yeah, you got to batch those things and get it going. But no, I mean, but listen, but all that to say too, it's just like, because I know we talked about it, a little bit, and I know that. So my wife and I, we kind of flirted with the idea of moving back to Nashville. We're a little north of Philadelphia right now, and Nashville is amazing in a billion and one ways. So, even the surrounding areas, I mean, they're all amazing, and people are flocking from all over the country to want to be there. Maybe that's part of the problem. I don't know. But I think that, as we flirted with the idea of moving back, we've been gone now 4 or 5 years, and we still go back several times a year, but it's obvious that it's changing all the time. And I think as an artist, finding your way and navigating that certainly by yourself can be challenging. And you and I kind of talked about like what, you mentioned before we hopped on, like just kind of the frustration a little bit with that. I mean, so can you kind of lean into that frustration, but then also like, is there any hopefulness too on the backside of that,
Hmm.
of what's to come? Does that make any sense?
Yeah, I don't want to sound like a jaded, cynical. I don't want to be that.
Well, just no, you're
It's
good. You're
it's
good.
hard for me to want to leave Nashville quite yet, because I'm not completely finished with music. Because there are a lot of songwriters here. I know there are in LA as well, a lot, but primarily with like the genre I want to do is here, and that's one of my weaknesses. So I kind of like to be around talented writers, so we can collaborate and
Yeah.
obviously producing. I've done that myself a lot and worked with different people each time, so that's not
Yeah.
necessarily a something holding me back.
Sure.
But yeah, the writing is what keeps me here, and I have fun in the fall time, especially here versus like a Florida thing. There's just so many beautiful leaves. I'm obsessed with fall leaves. I've taken so many pictures and
Yeah.
inspiration for my color palette. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
do appreciate this region, and I think it's fun going to different cafes here and
Sure.
enjoying the city life. But it's definitely not a forever thing. I don't think.
Sure.
And yeah, to anyone that's like, oh, I need to be in Nashville, like just like you said earlier, I would, mm, do your monthly trips first, and if you really feel called,
Yeah.
you can consider that or rent someone
Yeah.
maybe first.
Yeah, no, totally. And I think that it's so funny because and I talked to somebody about this, not long ago, but it's like so many people, they're kind of a big deal in their own hometown,
Right.
of Bumblesticks, Idaho or whatever,
Yeah,
and so it's like, hey, you're selling out,
I
70
know.
75 seats here at this bar.
And
You need
people would
you
tell me that with like when I wanted to move to LA, and I tried it without, I just didn't listen. And anyone who's under 25, it's like just listen to your parents, please, whatever. And
yeah.
so, but it's the same thing. Like people would always say, yeah, but why wouldn't you be a big fish in the small pond? And I'm like, I don't care. This is where I need to be. And
Yeah.
It's just so hard when you just are
Yeah.
set in your own ways sometimes, and then you learn later. You appreciate where you are from and what
Yeah, totally.
wisdom of what people were saying. Anyway, continue what you're.
No, no, you're no, that's great because it's like I think that there's this idea that you have to be where the action's at, right? Like you have to be
Hmm.
where the action's at to be a part of the conversation,
Yeah.
to have any kind of like traction, that kind of thing. And the reality is like music has changed so much. I mean, whether you're talking about the geography of where you live, or whether or not you have a record label, or you release your music on your own. I mean, the industry has changed so
Hmm.
much, and you can succeed different places. It doesn't have to necessarily be Nashville or Los Angeles or, whatever. And I think a lot of people are coming around to that idea. And, and I know it sounds ridiculous, man, but it's like that whole home is where the heart is kind of thing. It's true. And if you can find that balance, I mean, I think good on you, if you can do it, so it's kind of interesting that you're kind of in that place right now where it sounds like there's a little bit of a tug of war going on,
Hmm.
but well, let me ask you this. I know that you've got some shows lined up here in November. I know you've got some stuff going on, later this year. Like what is your tour schedule look like? Are you coming out with new music soon? Like what's going on with that?
So I just put out my EP a couple weeks ago, and it's a 6-song project called Desperate Man. And so I guess technically you could say we're touring off of that.
Yeah,
Have a festival and a hometown show in November, and then a 4-show run in December. And then my booking agent and I, we just use Google Calendar, and in it he will write like, oh, hold or confirmed or something. So I'll look in there and see what I have coming up.
right.
And so there's quite a lot of Florida stuff in the new year, but I think this is just end of 25 into 26. It's like Madison's tour. What's the word? Genesis, is that the word? The
Yeah,
right
sure.
word? Like
Yeah.
my start of that whole thing.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna start solo and then maybe duo and then go bigger from there. Of course, if someone offers like a festival slot and we actually have budget to pay you,
Yeah.
that would be nice.
Yeah.
Then of course I will just do what I can to just find people that will play.
Sure.
But I've learned to not do the whole maxing out credit card thing. You just get down a
Yeah.
bad rabbit hole of that and justifying I need this and that because you can make a lot of noise with just 2 people. So
Sure. Sure. Well, and it's funny that you say that because I think a lot of times whenever we, um, as people start any kind of project, right? Like, whatever it is. I mean, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're, we feel like we have to like push all the buttons and we have to go do like you have to go buy the domain name and you have to go do the,
I know.
what I'm saying? And like, but
Oh,
it's so challenging. And I think the challenge sometimes for me anyway, like it's being okay with starting small and like being okay
mhm.
just kind of putting in that early bit of work,
Yeah.
even if you can't pull all the levers at once, right?
I feel like it's cooler. Like, use your own wardrobe. I used to have this like shopping addiction. It's like I
Yeah,
don't need all this new trending clothes. Like, we need to stop scrolling every morning and seeing
yeah,
what the new fashion is. Like, we need to go. I feel like we're gonna see that trend where everyone's gonna go back to like my individual style and what I want to do in life,
yeah,
not
yeah.
always what the influencers are telling us to do and buy.
Totally, totally.
It does sink
Yeah,
into your mind, and like you don't need all the Pro Tools gear and plugins
yeah,
and all the fancy cinematography. And like I admit, I went through all that, and like I need this
yeah.
fancy music video. It's like, uh, or pay
Well,
this cover art designer. It's like I started handwriting my own ones because
yeah, why not?
why not?
Yeah. Well, and it sounds like you're kind of in a place right now, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's, where you're definitely, there's a lot of reflection, like self-reflection
I
going
know,
on.
which
And
I guess naturally for all of us at the end of the year. So combined with that,
yeah, no, totally. But I think too, like you said, even like down to like, you drawing maybe your own album art or like
mhm.
just stripping it down and getting back to basics. And, which I think can be a beautiful experience
Yeah,
because, I think for a lot of people that have tried to do the Nashville thing, it's just like, there's a formula, right? And if you can lock in and get the formula, if you do X, Y, you'll get Z kind of thing, or and that's not always true. Like I think that's not always true. And so like for you to strip it down and say, I think I'm going to get back down to the basics. I'm just going to be me. I'm going to go out. I'm going to play music the way I want to play it. I'm going to dress the way I want to play or dress.
hmm,
Like I think that there's some beauty in that, right? So
100%.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, listen, so if if anybody wants to check you out, I think that they can check out your tour schedule at madisonhughes.com, I think, correct?
Yes, I
Um,
recently re-upped my domain because I went through this period where I'm like, no one goes on my website, I'm canceling it.
yeah, exactly.
I was
No,
like, you
that
know what? Okay, I went through the effort of buying MadisonHughes.com.
yeah.
I better keep it. I better keep it active. So yes.
Well, listen, if you lose it, you may not get it back.
I know.
Take it from me. I lost mine, man. I lost mine and I wish I hadn't.
Really?
Uh,
Oh, I'm sorry.
and like praise God for GoDaddy because they bombard you with the email saying your domain is about to expire. And
Oh,
so
I
listen,
know.
yeah,
They make you low.
yeah. So man, listen to GoDaddy. When they hit you up, they mean business, and you need to go ahead and pay that
Yeah,
$11.99.
literally.
Well, Madison, listen, we're rooting for you here at the end of the year. We're rooting for you next year. Whatever you need from us, let us know. Again, thanks for jumping on hitting the road, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. This was great.
Yes, ma'am. We'll talk to you soon.